Hello, everyone. Welcome to Deep Woo Woo tonight on Friday night. It is, of course, Simulated Reality with SOLRETA. This is part 16. You can find her work at solreta.com and also at Solreta Anteria here on YouTube. Big warm welcome back to SOLRETA. SOLRETA, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. I just saw a comment about our Tantra show. I think it was episode 2. Someone was saying, did you see that one, JC?
The comment or wait, no.
Yeah, there was a comment just saying they wanted to know something about, oh, here we go. So it says, hi, JC, I have an insider pass to the first episode. So read it uncensored. Show was great. Can you add the first episode to the insider pass?
Wait, it says, okay, hold on. Okay, Merkaba, this one?
I think they want 1 and 2.
Hi, JC. I have an insider. Okay, so first, thank you so much for supporting us there on the Insider Access Pass. It says, and I don't have access to your first episode. Second show was great. So where did you see the second? They should be under the same library. But okay, Merkaba, thank you for letting me know. I'll go check that out as soon as we finish the show. If for some reason it's not there, man, it should be there. Anyways, okay. Thanks for letting me know. I'll go check it out. It could be. I mean, we were rushing to fix that solution for everyone so that we can bring all the Patreons over. Of course, we had censorship over there. So it's possible that one episode, for some reason, I forgot to upload it to that side of the site because it's really 2 different websites. There's the one that's the pay-per-view a la carte for everybody who used to buy it that way. And then behind the screen, there's a whole other site now for the Insider Access Pass. So it's possible that I forgot to port one episode over. So thank you for letting me know. I'll go investigate that tonight. And thank you, everyone, for joining us here tonight on this beautiful Friday night. This is a live interactive show. And we're going to talk about our superpowers here tonight. More than ever, we need to step into our mission, to our full potential, especially with everything that's happening now, on top of the energies coming from space. SOLRETA, where do you want to start with that? This is a big topic for tonight.
Wow. The reason this is coming up, so I was in the shower where I get a lot of downloads and I'm like, okay, what are we going to talk about today? And instantly guides are like, we need to talk about our human potential. And what they mean by that is our psychic human potential. So for me, I guess like what we're going through here in Australia, and I don't even know if our lockdowns are being changed. Everyone was bombarding me last night with messages just before I went to sleep. Oh, thank you. And I just want to say hi to everyone appearing in the chat as well. Thank you for joining us, family. So we were getting just text messages. Even our old governor, which is what we call a premier, hi, John, was saying that there was a chance that we were actually going to get locked down. So we're in stage 4 lockdown now. I think they're talking about stage 5, which would mean that we can only travel in a 1 kilometer radius. And yeah, I know we're already on 5. Unless you have certain excuses to travel outside of that 5, like seeing your partner or things like that. So it would also mean shopping once a week for groceries, and only one person from the house can do it. You're allowed to take your dog for a walk, but only for 20 minutes. Like really, really, really harsh restrictions. So I was getting hit with all of this last night, just before going to bed. So I was up quite late. But that's kind of, it brings out this warrior sideness when we hear stuff like this. Yeah. So in my family lineage, we've got a lot of Viking stock on both sides of the family. And we're related to William Wallace from Braveheart. So I was kind of, before going to bed last night, feeling to paint my face, half blue, get the flag out, run for freedom. But no, it does actually, when you hear things like this, it brings up something within you. And just over the last couple of weeks, and even over my lifetime, I've really affected electricity and not being able to wear watches. My grandma was the same. So I just thought there's a reason that some of us have this kind of ability. Now, some people have the ability to charge batteries up and to charge electronics and different things. I've even had one time where I was driving on the freeway and I was on my way to the airport to pick up a friend and my car totally broke down. The engine totally died. I had to veer off to the side. There was no power steering, anything like that. So it was really just kind of using sheer force to get it off to the side. I stopped the car and called AAA. And what happened was I just said to them, I'm actually just going to try and see if it'll start again. and I just sent energy into it. It started, I got to the airport, picked up my friend, then got back home. The car died exactly out the front of his apartment. We literally just made it home. The tow truck came in the morning and said, how did you even start that? Your engine is totally dead. When that cut out like that on the freeway, there's no way that that could have started. And I'm just like, I don't know, willpower. But I knew full well how it started. Yeah. So there's other like examples I've had of, you know, power going out across suburbs when I've directed energy and intention and things like that when I was a lot younger, which, you know, I haven't played with that kind of stuff in a long time. But when you hear stuff like what we're hearing, you know, it's time to kind of like dust off the cape and get the costumes out.
We need the superheroes back on the street.
Yeah. And if we look at the things that are done on the other side, you know, they're utilizing full gifts that they have. They're utilizing this perfectly said sage energy. So it's time that we actually step into our full power. Watch movies like Lucy, Limitless. Look at like, you know, what happens when we use our human potential. So highly encourage everyone to watch that, get into that downloading mode of what it means to be in our full power. And I thought, let's have a look into what the guides actually have to say about this rather than just looking at it at a conscious level.
I love it. And, you know, maybe your frazzled energy with everything that's happening in your neck of the woods is what's interfering with your microphone here before the show. Maybe your whole energy is emitting.
Yeah. So I have where everything is set up working to go. And I've even had clients where they have the same effect with electricity. And it's like this, like trying to work together. So I just need to calm. I just come back into that peace and serene. But I mean, you know, it's just an example of how we can focus the energy. So let's have a look in the cards, and I'll probably calm down.
Okay, sounds good. So far your mic looks better. So we do apologize, folks. There is a little bit of a lag usually between our shows. Something to do with one of the hubs between Canada and Australia. Sometimes our connection's a little bit off.
And I've gone into settings and adjusted everything on my mic as well. Okay. So let's have a look, and we could probably take some questions as well after. I've got the same code from last week for anyone that is wanting to book in. And we are looking around New Year's time too. So really good time to get a read, to look ahead and to see what's happening. We're also coming into full moon in Aquarius on the 22nd. So that's my tomorrow. And, you know, looking into Aquarius and looking into tapping into our higher selves, really, you know, extracting this knowledge. And I feel this is the perfect time to look at these gifts because it feels like quite a powerful full moon.
Hey, wait a second. You said the same as last week. Did we change the code last week? I still have JC Love. Or did you put it back to BeyondMystic? Do you remember?
Was it something mystic? It was the one that we had from last time.
Okay, hold on, folks. Okay, so let me take that one off just to make sure we don't confuse the audience here. Let me go look at. Okay, start with the cards. Start from your first cards. I'll go look at the last poster and I'll adjust that.
Oh, I'm just having a look at the website while we're here because it'll bring it up for me, so I can tell you for sure.
All right, hold on, folks.
But yeah, we do have a really powerful full moon with this full moon in Aquarius. So if we look at the beautiful star card as being the representation for Aquarius, she holds one cup up to the sky and then she pours the other cup onto the earth. So this is really about, you know, tapping into our higher selves, tapping into that God version of self. So I've got the code Starseed.
Starseed?
Yeah. I didn't think it was that.
No, I had Unite. Man,
let me
last
see.
Week was I'm checking now.
No, I've got Unite.
We had Unite.
I've got Unite as one as well.
Whichever you want, I'll just save it, but let me know which one you want.
Yeah, I've got the two. So, yeah, let's go with Unite.
Let's go with Unite? Okay.
Yeah, I think the other one was from another show that I did.
Okay, so let me save that for the audience here. All right, keep going.
Okay. So we've got 3 cards out of the psychic deck, so I haven't had a look at them yet. I'm just feeling into it. Oh, this is interesting, the energy that's coming already. I feel like I'm in a science lab. So what I actually feel when I tune into this, I actually feel that cord or that beautiful golden thread that connects us to source. And I'm seeing this very much being present when we tune into working with our psychic gifts. And not only does it help us tune in to work with our own, it also provides that connection with collective consciousness. So it's working together as a whole is what the guides are saying that they want to look into around this. I'm going to flip the cards. Okay, this is the best. We've got transformation. So when we focus, hi Ben, when we focus on our psychic powers, psychic abilities, and I guess you would call it like, ESP, is it PK? All of these extrasensory abilities. So what we have in this little part here in our sinuses, we have a bone called the sphenoid bone. Now, this is the shape of a butterfly, and it's a hollowed chamber. So this is where the sinuses flow through, the acupuncture points around here. They all relate to consciousness. And we also have the sinuses at the back of the head where acupuncture points are gates of consciousness. So if we're looking at this connection, this thread to source, what we actually have is this beautiful opportunity to transform or to upgrade this human biocomputer. So this physical representation with the butterfly is where all of these spiritual lights flow in. And when we focus our attention and our psychic abilities, they all kind of like resonate around these sinuses. So we have the wings up in here. We've got the butterfly wings. So this is directly talking about like our psychic senses to me, because that's always a sign for it. But we've got this fairy in transformation. Now she's in heart frequency because she's dressed in green. We have the card of destiny. So this is about using the power of transformation, the full power of who we are for our destiny. And look, we see it coming together, and look at this. There's that golden source energy coming down from her head, exactly as I described before I flipped the cards. We also see this beautiful heart energy coming in. So that's the difference, is it's not just using this mental power, this mental psychic ability. The difference with this is that we're popping heart into it. Now, this is the human alchemy. This is what Jay Weiner talks about as well with alchemy. We can't just, read the recipe for lead into gold. We have to put the heart in. That's what makes the alchemy, what makes the change on the grid. Because look at this grid. We've got that flower of life in the background. Oh, thank you, Daniel. The audience is so sweet. I love your audience.
Me too. They're amazing. They're all amazing.
They are.
Yeah, thank you so much.
But this is going to foundations and achievements. So there's that beautiful abundance card. It's the completion. It's the view that we wish to go to as far as humanity. So we'll just get some cards just to confirm this and see what else they want to say.
Okay.
But these are all looking really good. It's almost like that darkness to light, like what they're showing me right now as I'm shuffling the deck. It's almost like this darkness is causing us to have to be more and have to birth more. We can no longer sit and just sort of, take in information. We actually need to start getting active. We need to be practicing this. So, for inspiration, like we said before, watching these movies like Lucy and Limitless and X-Men and all of these things, it wakes up in the subconscious mind that these things are possible. So let's have a look into these other cards. And I've got, as you guys know, I work with my cards face down, unless I say that they've fallen out otherwise, or I'm flipping. Okay. So what I'm actually feeling now is it's back to that science lab type feel. And I feel when I put my consciousness into the cards, I'm actually reaching a shelf. And on that shelf, I can actually feel other people's consciousness connecting to the same purpose, to the same goal, to the same intention. It's the same as this card that we've got. So it's people collectively working together. So if we can imagine that there's already a group that are collectively meditating and working and using these higher gifts, these higher powers, we're really just adding to it. So don't think about it as the individual working just on this. Yes, the individual needs to show up and each person makes a difference. And we just saw this with my beautiful friend Josh was telling me about Glenn Beck over in the States, and how his radio station raised, I think it was $19 million to help fly people out of Afghanistan. And, they're saying, we're just a radio show. Like, how can we do this? And I think it was like 20 hours or something, they raised that much money. But he was giving beautiful examples of people saying that, even if they only had $20, they were putting money towards this cause because they felt so strongly guided by God to help out with this mission. Now, this is the same sort of energy that I'm getting. It's each person individually showing up with what they've got. And together, that's like turning up the juice on this power. So we must hold the positive intention for the future outcome, the future timeline that we wish to see. Because right now, if we're visualizing what we're seeing in the world happen, and what's kind of being broadcast, it's making the future unstable. It's making it shaky. So we need to come together as the greater good. There's far more of us than there is with the dark side as well.
Yeah, imagine that. I mean, one little radio show raising all that money to go and save Americans, and yet our president is nowhere to be seen, hiding in a bunker somewhere. I don't know. Who needs them anyways? We can do it ourselves. So, wow.
And that's the light that's coming out of the darkness. Yeah. That's what we need to look to. It was the same with bushfires here in Australia those couple of years ago. Remember, we had people raising millions and millions, and we had the community and the people show up. This is the kind of heart that we need to have right now. We need to know that we are that main percentage of the population, that we're the ones that make the difference. We're not going to let a little 1% or even a little 5% tell us, what to do, how we should live. Right. We need to come together with our actual powers and change this. So I'm just going to feel into
what they say, knowledge is power. And of course, we're moving into the age of Aquarius, the knowledge.
Exactly.
There you go.
So this is why they're wanting to talk about this at this time. Right. So I'll flip these cards. Oh, JC, this is looking really good. Awesome. This is looking beyond.
We need some good news.
But don't forget, it's about showing up. If we don't show up, we don't do the work. We're not going to get that 10 of Cups. We're not going to get the reward. So, but what I am seeing when we do show up, we've got the Hierophant. Look at the golden energy coming from Source. We've had this in the 2 decks now. Mm-hmm. It's available. Mm-hmm. The juice is available to tap into.
Yeah.
All we have to do is go plug that little cord in to the electrical socket to Source.
Right.
Because we're kind of running around at the moment going, why is it not showing up? Because we haven't plugged in. We need to plug in. So we've got this beautiful Hierophant card. Now this is beautiful because it's Taurus, it's Venus energy. We're doing it with love. So we can see here he's directly tapped into Source. We've got the trumpets heralding in the background. We can see that there's the star. We can also see there's this beautiful Egyptian goddess. That's so exciting, Beth. I can't wait to read for you. Every time her name pops up, I just feel Reiki energy just coming. So we definitely need people like you sending that frequency and sending that energy. Absolutely. So the other thing that's interesting too is one of these face masks actually looks like Obama. Can you see that in the top corner?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
How weird is that?
Yeah.
So there could be something interesting happening on a political front too. So what I'm hearing with that is holding the truth. So we all know what the truth is. So it's holding the truth and it's letting this other stuff come out. So what we have with the Hierophant, we had the 10 of Cups fall out, which is pretty much in the traditional tarot, it looks like this. It looks like the family out the front of the cottage with the rainbow. There's 10 cups in the sky. This is the vision. This is the abundance manifesting on the earth. So we literally are creating this vision and abundance. What's really exciting is that we have the 6 of Cups, which is Sun and Scorpio. So there's a deeper understanding about who we are, about our actual organic nature, because we've been told, we're not powerful, we don't make a difference, we're parasites on the earth, blah, blah, blah. This is actually, the darkness is forcing us to learn about who we really are and to actually learn about our superpowers and to learn about how we can actually shape and create our reality, how one person can make the difference. And this is the harmony that's coming out of all of these difficult times. It's that It's the beauty. So with the Scorpio down the bottom, it's that moon energy. It's that light coming in to illuminate the dark. And then we see that the sun shows up. And each of these cups represent, cups for me is more connected to do with, the emotions. It's connected to do with the heart. But in this situation, I feel it's collective consciousness showing up to affect the tides changing. See the water in the background? Mm-hmm. Now, what I also got with this is past life energy too. So we can see here this goddess in the middle connected. It's not just this lifetime. It's not just this one here and the now. This is something that we've worked for in Atlantis. We've worked for it many, many times before. But what we have that we didn't have back then is the communication network. We have the energy to be able to communicate on a global stance, not just, in one little part of the realm. So what we have is Mars energy driving this too. So we've got Mars working for us in Leo. So if we look at the energy of the leadership behind that planet that rules and governs, like war and other things, we need to be putting this light behind that, because that's what we have in this card too. So it's not necessarily about putting darkness and things. We get to choose. So I'm really excited to see this. I'll just see if there's any other decks or anything they want to look at. Okay, they want some clarification with this other deck too. Is that all making sense so far?
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of the deck, what was the first one you're using, and what's the one you're pulling up here, as Siobhan was asking?
These ones are the Psychic Tarot, okay. And then the second deck is the Thoth or Thoth deck. So this is based on Egyptian tarot, which was the original tarot. So you have more symbols.
Okay, so now that makes sense, because you said, hey, Obama's there. I'm like, wait, is it Obama, or was it supposed to be Akhenaten? Because it's the Egypt card. There you go. Okay.
Yeah. So it is based on the Egyptian tarot. And you'll see there's a little Egyptian goddess just down the bottom here as well. Right. Okay. So to clarify, let's see. They just want to flip these ones over. Oh, wow. Oh, this is exciting. Wow. They're just like getting me to pull more and more and more. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Okay. This is like a whole story. Look at the cards I've got out, JC. I've got a whole line of cards that have come out here. Okay. So what they're trying to tell us that this will lead to on a physical level, or what's happening. There's a collapse of the system. There's a collapse of the old. We can see that the tower has perhaps been in power for a long time. And we see some people jumping ship. So we might see some people dobbing on each other in regards to, throwing someone under the bus if the finger's getting pointed at them. So if there's like legal accusations, that's weird. I said accusations. Yeah, there could be like a little bit of a witch hunt happening as well. But I don't feel that it's for the light. So what I'm seeing, is possible like a collapse. Now remembering this is with the intention of focusing and harnessing our full human potential. Right. So this isn't if we're just sitting on our butts. So we need to be focused and using this light frequency. So, downloading apps that work with psychic abilities, working with Zener cards, working with pendulums, starting to actually get to know who you are as a psychic and as a spiritual being, doing the meditation every single day, morning and night, eating right, treating your body as a temple, connecting with other like-minded souls. This is how I see this kind of thing collapsing. So we have Ace of Wands. It's a new spiritual connection. It's a new opportunity. We're seeing pretty much the hand of God come out to help, but we need to show up. We're also seeing Judgment Day. So this is very interesting, because this is some of the people waking up. This is what we would say is those that are not connected on a conscious level. If they see a switch or a change happen in collective consciousness, where people are starting to live connected and are starting to actually display these sorts of abilities and start to work with it. And if you think about like having that heart power switched on and the heart being electromagnetic, this is a frequency that's felt. No longer are they able to kind of like walk around and just sort of like be like this and not listen to information. When people are in their heart energy, you can't help but listen. You can't help but feel that there's something greater playing a part. So we have Archangel Michael in the top of this with phoenix wings. So we're at a stage where we can rebirth. We're still in that Saturn-Jupiter conjunction portal energy that we opened last year with December 21st. That's still echoing in the now. Now, what's happening is I'm seeing a 5 of Swords. So yes, we might see more darkness. We might see more desperation and more, I guess, feeling, how would I say? Feeling that we don't quite have that life that we wish to have, that we are sort of like shut out. 5 for me like represents, it's kind of a plateau energy. It's things having to get worse before they get better, or we've experienced the depth. So they say that change doesn't happen unless we're uncomfortable. This is the solution of how we need to change. So what I'm seeing come out of this, we're also seeing with this one, with this 5 of Pentacles, we're seeing people that are sort of destitute, perhaps sick, perhaps poor. We've got spirit, or we've got God right here in this church. These people don't have to be outside. They can seek solace in the inside of this. So this is really on a psychic level, looking at like all of the capabilities that we have for us, not just walking around like this, going, oh, I hope things are going to be okay. We need to pray. We need to meditate. We need to come together as a collective. Because when we do, we get Page of Wands. So we need to start bringing this idea, this strength into conception. So we've got the Strength card come out, and we've got this Leo energy. What a perfect month to do this in. You know, really use this energy that we have coming up with the full moon and with Leo. And we're seeing it lead to this celebration. We've got a 6. We're starting to see the hard times end with this. We can see that there's a bit of a celebration. Everyone's kind of like, you know, dressed in their finery. We're starting to kind of like deal with an adjustment. And because it's wands, this is on a spiritual level. And this is the thing that most people don't understand with what's currently happening on the planet. They're perceiving it to be a physical thing. This is a spiritual war. We need to attack it with a spiritual mindset and a spiritual way of thinking and feeling about this. So it's definitely time for every single person to be responsible to step it up.
Wow. That's amazing. It reminds me of this video I just put up on BitChute last week. Of course, the title there I won't read for this YouTube channel. But yeah, we're all being called to get one of those and to step up into our power here. And what's interesting here too is as we got so close to the darkness here, more and more what people call normies are about to wake up and come online, and those people are going to be lost, and they're going to need you and your leadership, everyone who's watching the show here. So you're all going to have to step up and show them the way here, because they're going to go through an awakening process in such a small window of time compared to maybe the people who've been watching this show, who've been awake for some time now. So we need to have compassion for all of those. And again, you need to take care of your body, as the relative was saying, like eat right, make sure you sleep, make sure you meditate, maybe exercise a little bit more. Again, more energy is coming through, and you're going to be called to master and wield that energy here as we move through these times. So very exciting. I'm excited about all of this. I think it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's exciting times, isn't it? And I mean, we can only visualize, and I know that there's movies where people come together, you know, like X-Men and different things like that, where they use their powers. I just want to say happy birthday to Daniel. I just saw it's his birthday. Happy birthday. And I just saw Terry Walters said, "SOLRETA, did you watch the sunset last night?" Even though the dictator said we couldn't. I actually didn't, because I was a little bit busy at that stage.
You're not allowed to go outside to watch the sunset? I mean, that's crazy.
You have to wear sunglasses and you have to watch it backwards. No, we do have some weird rules. I just quickly want to pick something specific around our actual psychic abilities, because it's talking about collective consciousness and it's talking about what happens. Let's just see if they've got, thank you. Yeah, let's just see if there is actually specific energy on using. Spirit's giving me the word frequencies. Okay, they're wanting to talk about that with our psychic abilities, it's a frequency, it's a wave that we emit. So just as with my microphone, when I'm excited, it starts to affect the frequency of electronics. So we need to become very aware of what frequency we're putting out. We need to rein it in. We need to harness it. So, frequency does amazing things if we look at cymatics. If we look at when they play, have like a board over a speaker and they play certain frequencies into it, whether it's like 528 or 432, which is like a harmonious sound. So even listening to beautiful positive frequencies and listening to some of the older music like Bach and Beethoven, things like that are going to start to affect our consciousness. We need to actually be playing the things that are good for our frequency health. They want to specifically address frequency health. I've never talked about frequency health. So yeah, this is something to look further into. I know that it has to be recorded, in that you can't just run it and play it through that. It has to actually be organically recorded into that. But listening to some of these older musics is what they're showing me. Now, these are the ages that we had, great inspiration. We had great minds in this time. Now, what they're showing this to is it affects the way that our brains and our neurons and the synaptic connections fire. It's going to activate neural networks. Now, this will help to provide, they're showing me it's like a smoother ride in the brain pathways. So what we're seeing right now is chaotic fire happening in the brain, is what they're showing me. When we bring it into, they're pretty much saying, they're giving me the word chaos. They're saying what we're seeing in the brain at the moment, when we look at a brain scan of the general population, is chaos. They're saying come together in a collective harmonization. So not just together, like, person to person, collective consciousness, but to actually use these things that we know to work, to bring about harmony and to bring about, deeper peace and relaxation. But they're showing something specifically around how this activates the brain. So I'll just feel into what we have with this. For some reason, Spirit is showing me a grasshopper. Okay, I'm just asking them for the spiritual meaning or the understanding of the grasshopper. Just throwing a joke in. It's pretty much, like the whole, yes, grasshopper, or, they're pretty much just saying
grasshopper.
Sorry, what was it? Patience?
Patience, yeah. It's an old kung fu thing from old David Carradine movies. The master would say, "Patience, grasshopper," or something like that.
Anyway. You're the right person with your martial arts background to know that, because I'm looking at this grasshopper and I'm asking them for the meaning, and then I'm just hearing giggles on the other side, because they like to be lighthearted too. They're not all serious. It's the lightheartedness that lifts the frequency, raises the vibration. So I'll flip this over. Oh, cool. Oh, this is good. This is perfect, JC. This is about the brain. They really do want to speak about frequency affecting our brains. So also to, protect, use your electromagnetic protections, use your orgonites, use like your shungaites, all of these things to put up that defense. These are our shields. These are the modern day shields for psychotronic warfare and things like this, and for psychic attack. Wow. Because when the frequencies do hit and when you start to feel clouded and foggy, a lot of the time it's electromagnetic. So we need to make sure we're using physical shields. For me, this Two of Swords represents the corpus callosum in the center of the brain, which is the center where both sides communicate with each sides of the body. So we need to become more whole brain beings. We can't just be like logically dominated. We also can't be too creatively dominated, because we won't get stuff done. So we need to come together as a whole brained approach, and music and frequency is what they're showing me that helps to harmonize this, that helps to bring together, to fight oppression. Again, we have a symbol for the corpus callosum with the crossing of the brain, and we can see two lines that are trying to oppress and shut down these abilities and shut down this whole brained approach. When we talk about this, it takes me to the research of a beautiful Japanese man called Makoto Shushida. And with Makoto Shushida, what he taught, the most important thing was love. Love has the most impact on the brain. So when we look at developing brains in utero, love is that thing, that essence that's an absolute essential. It helps things to grow in perfect state. So first we must apply love and then also work with frequency, and we must work with meditation and things. Look at this beautiful cup, the Ace of Cups. We're literally changing the field. Can you see this? The collective consciousness coming together. It also, this beautiful lotus looks a little bit like a brain. We're seeing the full explosion, the full powers of the brain. We're starting to utilize our full capabilities, is what I'm seeing with this. Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, it's amazing.
We're seeing it connect to source. Remember, we're divine beings that are still connected with source. And we can see that it's affecting it on a spiritual level. And we can see that it's flowing onto the earth and affecting change everywhere. It's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So I'm glad that we looked into that, because, yeah, even myself, like, I don't really listen to old classical music and things. So
I brought up water earlier. And you were saying also, don't forget to thank your water. So bringing that frequency of gratitude to your water before you drink it. And the reason I was bringing that up is because of this study made how frequency actually changes the structure of water. And of course, we are made of water. So there's all of that. That's interesting. But in terms of the music also, there's a lot of experiments showing that playing classical music, for example, in a greenhouse will produce more yield than playing rock music. So again, there's something about those frequencies that are conducive to life or better health or abundance. So I really love that. And, you know, as you were talking about psychic protection from these frequencies, maybe these people here in Vienna need that, because they're getting hit with those frequencies, what's called the Havana syndrome. This was in the news here very lately. Anyways, fascinating times. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing that they're wanting to talk about, there's something else that they're bringing in too. Okay. It's that same beautiful energy that was giving us the grasshopper saying before. What they're showing is, instead of entertaining, the worst possible potential, we need to start entertaining the highest possible potential of our abilities and our effect, that we can create change on the planet.
Say that again.
So I'm trying to get it in the exact wording, because they're downloading it very specifically. So instead of entertaining the worst possible outcome, and I guess what's being programmed to us or what's being cast to us, we need to start entertaining the highest possible potential of who we are and the highest possible potential of the outcome that we can affect. So whether it's like we're daydreaming, meditating, fantasizing about this, we need to actually start playing with this field and playing with this energy. So yeah, that's where it is good to watch the movies where the good guys win, and to watch.
Well, going back to that grasshopper thing, so this is what came up as you were saying that. So basically, in the David Carradine played Kwei Chang Caine, aka Grasshopper, who was given a seemingly impossible task by his kung fu tutor, Master Po, which he would eventually patiently overcome. So that's what you're talking about here, getting to that highest potential and not catastrophizing on what seems impossible. So that's fascinating. Wow, right on cue. I love that. Okay.
Yeah, they were very specific bringing that through. So, they're saying to me the words, it's about dancing with it. Like, it doesn't have to be like, right, it's 5 o'clock. And there's a beautiful lady on Instagram called Steffa, I think she goes under, and it was Lionsgate Portal, and she put up one of the funniest videos that I've seen. She's on Facebook as well, and she's like sitting at the computer, and she's like, the alarm goes off. She goes, oh my God, it's the 8th of the 8th. It's Lionsgate Portal. And she's like running into her wardrobe, gets her headscarf on, puts the hippie top on, runs and gets her cards. And she's outside with her crystals and her sage. And she's like, I've got to get the activations. I've got to get the light codes. And she's chanting and throwing the tarot cards out. And she's like, Lionsgate Portal. It's actually, and it was funny because it makes fun of and mocks the seriousness of what we feel. Yeah. But really, when we dance with it and we start to become playful with it, it starts to dance and vibrate back with us. It's like that Shaq meme, like you start vibing and then the other person starts vibing, and before you know it, everyone's doing this collective dance.
Yeah.
So that's the energy of and fun that they wish for us to get into, not have to be like this seriousness. Still put up the shields and everything, but yeah, we've got to start vibing with that higher version of ourselves.
Yeah. And you'll attract the same. Absolutely. Okay. I've got a question here from the PayPal tip jar. Thank you so much, everyone, for those donations. You guys are amazing. Elaine is asking, I've been feeling the energies of impending changes, and I'm sure many have. Is it okay? And sure, many have. Is it possible, SOLRETA, to give a reading on the present situation where we are now? Thank you for all your awesome work. Okay, thank you, Elena. So pull some cards on the energy we're feeling.
Sorry,
now.
I just didn't get. I didn't quite get your question. Just
let me bring that back up. Okay, I know when they do ampersand for some reason.
Okay, so present situation. Okay. All right, let's have a look.
But she's talking about feeling energies of impending changes. So she's very specific about what energies she's feeling here. So she's trying to read maybe into that to see what's coming up around the corner.
So what we were talking before about there being a couple of different timelines as well. And we need to anchor this positive, powerful timeline. So what the two cards that were literally popping up out of the deck were interference. So if we look at this, whether it's electronic interference, and we can see that there's an etheric debris that's in the background of this card. We can see that there's a frequency that's being broadcast. Now, this is not a harmonic one. This is more kind of like a psychotronic one. So not only do we need to put out that physical defense, that physical frequency, and when we can see that the dark side likes that, that we buy into the fear, that we switch the news on to see what's happening, that we, rather than coming from our beautiful little caves, so this is the Hermit card, we need to bring the light, we need to show up, we need to access this light, this innate knowledge that's within. So it is a bit of the same message that we were actually just going over, but with this Hermit card, this is about getting knowledge from within and from source. It's not about going and looking up the books. It's not about externally searching for this power or externally even looking for answers. This is something about that each and every person must tap deep within them and then bring that light out to guide the next person. So as I said before, to do with, shining this light and activating in this way. And that's one of those things that helps wake people up out of this sleep, not necessarily sprouting the talking and saying the same information over and over and, Google this, look up this, because a vast amount of the population are not going to do the research. They're not going to do the work. So we need to actually be the example to bring this light into the world. Yeah, there's going to be times where we feel that this is like a little bit darker. I'll just grab some cards just for her specifically around this interference. And I'll flip these over because we don't have much time. Yeah, this is about holding the light. We've got Prince of Cups here. You've got to really look at like what's your medicine to soothe. Have the go-to for when you feel in that dark place. Have like what to be, whether it is to go have a bath with the Epsom salts, whether it's to, catch up with a friend. Have the things when stuff gets heavy that you can turn to. Now, they're saying that's all right for a temporary fix. Don't become reliant. Don't become soul dependent on these external resources. Go within to find your light. We have the card of Science, which is a Six of Swords. This is actually showing, this is sort of like coming out of difficult times. We need to focus on that light. We have another one. So for me, 6, which we've got in both these cards, on the physical level and intellectual level, is about transcending our difficulties. We've got Aquarius and we've got Taurus and we've got Mercury and we've got the Moon. So we need to really pay attention, bring through, shine that light on the darkness of the subconscious mind, really be that guardian on that threshold as well, is what we're getting with Six of Swords. Now, what's interesting too is we've got, there's a lot of talk about science at the moment, and there's a lot of talk about, just what is it? There's a meme I've been seeing going around the science too. So it's trust the science, trust the science. Oh. No, we actually need to trust like us. We need to trust our belief, our ability. So I'm not seeing it being like the science that sort of gets us through to a degree. It's more the old way. It's more kind of like the way of the alchemist, the way of the monk and the meditation. It's the way of the herbalist is what I see that helps to get people through with this. And I also just want to mention, in my little tea flask today, I actually have star anise, and I've got that mixed with dandelion leaf. Now, this was one of my herbalist friends actually got me onto this because we were talking about pine needle tea. And I think she was saying, now don't quote me on this because I've got to get the paper from her, but I think it was about 7% cerumen with pine needle tea. And I think star anise mixed with dandelion leaf was like around 18%, if I'm remembering correctly. So don't quote me on it. But yeah, it's much higher in terms of like being around shedding and protecting your immune system. There's lots of other things that we can do too. But what I'm seeing with this is it's a much slower road to success, waiting for everyone to kind of get on board. We really have to do the work individually. There's no bypassing, whether it's on a physical level, whether it's on a spiritual level. We can't bypass this stuff. This is kind of why we came here. It's go time.
And who was it? You who said that? I'm trying to remember who said this in the last couple of episodes. Something like, when you heal yourself, you heal 1,000 people, or words to that effect. Was it you that told me that?
I don't know if I said that unless I was channeling.
Oh, maybe. I'm trying to remember who told me that a couple of weeks ago. It came up in a show the other day. I'm like, oh man, who told me that? Okay, I have a weird question here from the audience, and I want you to pick some cards on this. I think it's absolutely intriguing, and there's probably a reason this person is asking for us. So Sandy Sims, she's asking, hey, love you both. Can you pull a card on why Musk, Bezos, and Branson are meeting on Jupiter?
Does she mean like the actual planet Jupiter?
Well, she either means the planet Jupiter or perhaps the crater over from the crater we find ourselves in right now. Either way, It's a fascinating question.
Yeah, let's just have a look and see what comes. Oh, Spirit throwing cards on the floor.
Okay, well, that's always interesting.
Okay, there's one that's come out face down, and I'll just pick two to go with this.
Okay.
And Jupiter is one of my favorite planets.
They all left, in terms of mainstream media, they all left at the orbit of the Earth almost at the same time here in the span of a week or two. What were they doing? What are they signaling? I think it's a good question.
Yeah. I'm going to get the giggles because I'm just thinking about the memes that are going around about Bezos' rocket and what it looked like. It looked very phallic. Did you see the memes going around?
It was very phallic. Indeed.
It was very phallic. But, the Dr. Evil.
Right. It was in your face. Look, I'm doing the Dr. Evil. Austin Power, I mean, yes. Okay.
And someone in the comments is saying Jupiter, Florida. So I'm just going to have a look. We'll see what the cards say. So with the first one that came out from Spirit, and what I'm seeing these other ones. Oh, this is funny. Okay. So when I put my hand over the cards, I'm seeing kind of like a little breakaway group. It's like a little fraction of there's no other word for it. Spirit's just giving me the word nerds, kind of getting together. And yeah, let me see what else we get. Okay. This is interesting. When I look into it, there's sometimes when you look into things, whether it's like a government level, you'll actually get a psychic wall. There's a psychic wall up around them.
That's interesting.
So whatever they're doing, I don't think...
Berger in the chat is saying, yeah, check Michael Sala's interview with Elena Denon. They were talking about these meetings on Jupiter or in Jupiter, if you believe the creator theory. At any rate, there's something seems to be happening. So you're getting a wall on this. Okay.
Yeah, there's a wall on it. Doesn't mean we can't see through it, but there's a wall. Okay. What I'm seeing, like when I look at that wall, to describe it to you guys as best as I can, it's like liquid gold energy around. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a good energy, but I'm seeing that they're bound in something that's stopping people from psychically penetrating and looking through that. I'll flip the card and we'll see what we get. We've got the 7 of Discs, which is the card of failure. So this is sometimes like, it's almost like it can sometimes represent seeing in the darkness. So for me, this is usually like a nest with eggs and I guess putting our attention towards something. With the 7 of discs as well, it's sort of going past that 5 that we had before, which is like a plateau, or I feel that they're in talks about the outcomes and what comes after. You know, if stuff is reset, if everything happens, what comes after. But I do feel that it's all perspective is what I want to say. So what they're talking about, what they're envisioning, what they're seeing is perspective, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's the perspective that the collective wants.
Right.
But
that's what we're going to say. What happens after for the bad guys or for the good guys? Yeah. It's all related.
Like what society's going to be, what kind of advancements they'll allow to come to the surface. So I'll flip these other 2 cards that come with it. Here's some of the gold that we're seeing, and that's the alchemy card. Remember I said I saw like a gold kind of like shimmering wall up. So it was like liquid gold energy, but it had frequency going around it. And I kept getting the word like bound. There's some kind of like bound, but yeah, they're putting their heads together to talk about, I guess, future potentials in regards to, yeah, there's definitely a block there, but it's like there is potentials that they're talking about. I might get some clarification on this. It's not concrete yet. Like it's still unwritten is what I'm sort of seeing. Let me get some other cards from this other deck.
Starlight says, I worked for Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds. Wow.
Oh,
and I grew up in Jupiter. I've been to Jupiter, Florida. I was riding a Harley Davidson through there a couple of years ago on my way up to, what's that beach in Florida for the bike fest there? I forget what it was called. Anyways, keep going with the cards.
So what's interesting, as I talk about this, JC, you know how I said there's a psychic wall? So sometimes when there's people working to like protect or to keep something under guard, there's definitely sometimes a point of where you feel that the guards have turned around and they're looking at you psychically. So I'm just starting to feel that. So I'm just going to disconnect from that energy because I'm actually feeling it physically. Feels like my nose is going to bleed a little bit is the feeling. So I'm just going to disconnect from that and feel into the cards that we have left over. Yeah, it's what we said. We've got the Hanged Man. So there's like talks and different kinds of thinking that's being involved. They're really trying to look outside the box. We've got 10 of Discs, which is about like that completion. It is about kind of that abundance, you know, thinking about like heaven on earth and what it looks like. But remember, it's all perspective. So what does heaven on earth look like to them after things? And we've got the Emperor. So we're seeing some pretty big egos come together. And some pretty big bank balances come together. So yeah, really interesting combination.
It's interesting because when Janine and I pulled cards on this a couple of days ago, her card said that these individuals were nowhere close to where the media reported. So if the media reported they were, you know, in the atmosphere, like they weren't there at all. So whether they were in Jupiter or, as I say, another crater. For people here, like, what the hell is he talking about? But that takes too long to explain for this show, folks. Maybe SOLRETA and I will come back and do a show on that at some point. Yeah, but yeah, I know. Cecilia keeps saying, yes, check Michael Sellis. I did. This is what I'm talking about.
Just, I wish that I could download the exact vision that I'm seeing with this gold kind of fluid energy that's around them. It's just, it's fascinating to see. It's like imagining blowing a bubble. And someone's on the inside of this bubble and there's this energy kind of swimming around them. That's what I'm seeing psychically around them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really interesting. But it could be in another realm, you know, if the frequency and the density is a little bit different. But yeah, it's this weird sort of psychic energy around them. It's very, very fascinating. But yeah, it's just...
Well, we are living in this spiritual war.
It feels to be like a little bit of a blood nose.
Yeah, I think for most of us, we're not supposed to know what's going on. And personally, I do understand what Michael and Elena were talking about, and my gut feeling is that they have a part of the picture, but there's still a big picture missing there as well. We're all downloading little parts here and there, but yeah, this is very, very thick woo when you get into all of that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and remember, they're not counting on people holding their own light. They're not counting on people becoming sovereign and becoming fully responsible. The way that others would perceive it is that we're kids So it's time to come into adulthood, maturity, stand in our power.
Yep. Level up, get that battlefield promotion. Oh, Starlight, yes, Daytona Beach. That's what I was looking for, man. How can I forget that? I was thinking of Sturgis because Sturgis was in the news in the last little while. People were saying, of course, the CDC was saying that, oh, it's a super spreader event. So I had Sturgis in my mind, and I couldn't remember the one in Florida. But yes, Daytona. So Jupiter, anyways, is beautiful. By the way, beautiful area, absolutely. Yeah. All right, I think we're almost there. So Rita, I have another show.
Yeah.
I have to flip the deck over here for the next show with Penny Kelly. So folks, if you want to see that show, it's coming up in about 30 minutes here. And Penny and I are going to be talking about her latest look-see and what she sees across that white wall that we've been talking about here. So join us in about 30 minutes for that. Now, of course, if you want to book with SOLRETA, the coupon code is UNITE, all in one word. And what's your booking calendar looking like now, SOLRETA? What's the next?
I'm looking into January. So, yeah. Okay. And I have toyed with the idea of perhaps opening up a couple of other days, but I really want to focus on collective stuff. And with our lockdowns and everything, it's been quite hectic. Homeschool, and I'm a terrible homeschool teacher.
Well, at the same time, you have to watch your energy. You have to be nimble.
And that's why, because we are energetically being hit by a lot here, especially in Melbourne, and possibly potentially some more, which we'll be ready for. So, it's just a little bit of an unsettled kind of period of time. So I'm just being very mindful of energy and conservation. And
there's a lot coming up in the next couple of days. Apparently, I was talking to Cliff High also, and we'll do an update on this with Penny Kelly here at 7:30. But he's seeing another big emotional spike value in the next couple of days here. So what that is exactly, of course, we have the whole Afghanistan situation boiling up now, and stateside also. It seems, as you were saying earlier in the show, that they're starting to attack each other, and they're maybe leaving some of their friends out to the wolves. And I was going to bring up Cuomo, but that's what's happening.
Come up in the Tower card too. That was my feeling, that we'll see more of that.
Right, exactly. So anyways, folks, stay in your high frequency. Get prepared. Don't be fearful, but stay prepared and stay with your knowledge and ground with Mother Earth, whether it's salt baths. Somebody was saying with their Epsom salt baths. Yeah, it's a good way too. It's really cool. Eat well. Be outside in the sun for sure, and be in nature if you can, close to water. That absolutely helps also. The water is a big amplifier as well if you're trying to connect to that socket, as SOLRETA was saying earlier in the show.
Yeah. Ormus, white powder gold, get onto the alchemy. Yeah. Absolutely. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for your beautiful messages. I'm just reading them as you're closing up. So much love is what we're seeing. And just want to say thank you to each and every one of you, and to you, JC.
Well, thank you, SOLRETA. I love you, and I absolutely enjoy our show. So thank you so much, SOLRETA. Folks, that was Simulated Reality with SOLRETA number 16. And again, please remember to like, share, and subscribe here at SOLRETA's YouTube channel. It's SOLRETA Antaria. The links are in the description box below. And also, if you want to join us here in about 25 minutes, I'm going to be starting over with Penny Kelly for the episode entitled A Break in the Clouds. So thank you for watching, everyone. I love you guys. Have a great evening, and we'll see you soon. Au revoir.